Today is an exciting day. I received in the mail NewAir's CC-100H, and I'm finally ready to set it up. So, for this video, I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about what comes in the package. So the first item we have is this nice cedar tray, has their hygrometer in it. I have yet to set this up, but I will be giving it a try just to see how good this analog hygrometer is. I've read in a few other reviews that it's actually, the one that comes in the CC-100H is actually quite accurate. I will be using a digital hygrometer in this for the majority of the time, just because they're a lot more dependable than the analog ones are. Also in the CC-100H we have two cedar trays, look to be in pretty good condition, very well built. So while I am cleaning out the inside of the Humidor, I'm going to be placing these in bags with Bovita packs to season for the couple of days that it takes me to get the plastic smell out of the inside of the Humidor. All right, so we're ready to get started with the cleaning of the inside. So the items that I'm using is just baking soda in distilled water. So the baking soda will help absorb and clean out all that plastic smell from this interior lining so that we don't have that being imparted on any of the cigars that we store inside. Let's get going. All right, so we finished wiping out the interior of the CC-100H. If you're anything like me, probably should have put down some kind of rag or something to cover the table because I made a terrible mess. One other note to think about is you do have this drain plug in the back that is open. So while I've been cleaning this out, all the water has been draining from the inside down through that plug and all over the table behind this thing. So I'm gonna let this sit for about 24 hours, dry out, let that baking soda soak up all of that plastic smell and nastiness that we'd like to get out of there. And then we'll be wiping it down again with clean distilled water until we can get all of that baking soda residue out. All right, guys, today we are going to be cleaning out the interior of this CC-100H. So to do this, we're going to be using a clean wash rag and distilled water. So some things that I've noticed, I've already started cleaning this out already. Some things that I've noticed is that these tracks that your shelves sit on are actually a little bit difficult to get completely clean. So one tip that I have for you is to get your rag very saturated, so just dripping with that distilled water. Start at the back of these tracks and kind of squeeze that sponge or rag as you pull forward. That's going to pull the little bits of baking soda, the water, and everything out to the front where it's open, and you can let that water then flow down below. So work your way from the top. Scrub the flat parts of the side. Work your way from the back of the tracks to the front, and then clean any of that water that's squeegeed out from the sponge. If you work your way from the top down, you're going to be continually following the residue of that baking soda as you scrub it out, and then it'll be all collected at the bottom, which will be a lot easier to clean. You may find yourself having to go through this 2 or maybe even 3 times to get all the baking soda out. Make sure that you let it dry in between. When it dries, the baking soda will appear white and chalky, so you'll be able to see the areas that it's still left in. So Once we've gone through, we've cleaned all of this out. Then we're going to let the unit dry again. And then we'll see if it needs more cleaning. If it's completely cleaned and ready to go, then we will start installing the shell, start seasoning it so that it's ready for cigars. So for now the cleaning is done. We'll come back here later with the rest of the setup. All right, it is now time to take a look and update my thoughts on the NewAir CC-100H. Earlier in the video, we've covered cleanup and setup of the unit, and now I want to tell you some of my final thoughts after I've had about 2 weeks to take a look into this unit. So far, my only real complaint has to do with the thermometer in the unit. This unit is currently set to be 70 degrees, and I have it sitting at 69% relative humidity. I do have a standalone monitor that is tracking all of that, and it is staying exactly where I intend it to be. The biggest issue with this thermometer on the front is I found it to be very inaccurate. Sometimes yesterday it was tracking at 74 degrees when the inside of the unit was sitting at 69 to 70. You can see currently it is reading 72, and when I checked my internal monitor via my phone, it said that it was 70 degrees and 69.5% humidity. So if you're going to be purchasing one of these units, just be mindful to not always trust this temperature readout. I would recommend using standalone monitoring to try to define what the operating ranges are. So let's take a look inside my particular unit. You can see this analog gauge. I did calibrate it using the SALT method, and it is reading right about where you would want it to. A little bit low, so it's showing that it's in the green range, just a little bit above 62%. So it is a bit off, but a little bit more accurate than most analog meters that I've found. I do have this unit quite packed with cigars. So you can see I've got quite a lot of them in the upper tray and all of the others. I have a mix of loose cigars and boxes throughout. So you can see I've got a box starting here. And then the way that I am humidifying this unit is with the Boveda packs. So I have 2 of the 320 gram units in here, and they are holding humidity absolutely perfect. I think that these 320 gram packs would be good enough to hold the humidity on their own, but I really like that humidity to return back to where I want it relatively quick after closing the doors of the unit. So that's why I have 2. So also, when I store boxes of cigars, I like to put a Boveda pack inside the box. These don't do a perfect job of sealing everything up, but I like to have this as a backup in there to keep these cigars better humidified. So here is my secondary humidity meter. This is an Inkbird. It remotely monitors via Bluetooth both temperature and humidity, and I found this to be very useful. Comes with 3M stickers on the back, so you can use those pads to stick it to the side or the ceiling, wherever you would like to put it. And after the original calibration, which was only about 1 degree off and about 1.5% relative humidity off, it's been extremely accurate. So we'll remove this last tray in here. You can see I've got another Boveda pack, as well as 3 more boxes of cigars. So I don't have an absolute count right now of how many cigars are present in there. I'm going to go through these and count while the video is compiling, and I'll try to put it down in the description box below. Another item that I would highly recommend if you're going to be purchasing one of these CC-100H units, there is a drain hole in the bottom back of the drawer. That drain hole is open, so make sure to plug that before trying to calibrate everything, because you will leak a little bit of humidity through that hole. I used a little bit of plumber's putty that I got at my local hardware store. It's kind of like a Play-Doh. It doesn't have any type of scent. It hasn't caused any kind of issues with the cooler itself, and works very, very well. All right, so that has been the NewAir CC-100H. Again, it's a fantastic unit. I would recommend it highly to anybody looking for a wine-adore type of cigar storage. After going through and putting all of my cigars back in, I went to my couple of other humidors, pulled some cigars. I ended up getting 210 total cigars in there, boxes with the Boveda packs, everything. So there's a lot of room in it. I think that you'd be hard pressed under normal circumstances to fit their advertised 300, depending on the size of cigars that you have. If you've got petites or smaller ring gauge cigars, you may be able to do it, but definitely having those boxes in there takes up a lot of excess room. So if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the comments below. I will try to get to them and respond as quickly as possible. If you liked the video, please subscribe and hit the like button below.